Hey everyone, welcome to a very special edition of Tim's Vinyl Confessions. I'm Tim Derling. On this episode, it's kind of overdue. Earlier a few weeks ago, when we found out that we lost our first original member of Kiss, Ace Frehley, I did an episode of an album and review on Dress to Kill, which I turned into a little Ace tribute. This one, we're going to kind of do the full Ace tribute. But his solo career, not the Kiss stuff. We're going to start with the first Frehley's Comet album in '87. And I have to give credit to Logan for really wanting to do it this way. But I'm going to let him explain the rest to you.
Well, hello to TVC, and especially to Michael Ladano and Tim Derling. And special thanks for you guys for, I kind of threw this idea out to Tim, and he said, yeah, we could go ahead and do this little tribute to Ace. I'm kind of a newbie when it comes to some of Ace's solo stuff, but the first three, the Frehley's Comet stuff and Trouble Walking, I know quite well. And these last couple weeks, I've been listening to the album's posts, after he came back, so Anomaly and onwards. And I'm finding, there's a lot of good stuff on those records. Maybe not up to the quality to me of the early or the 80s stuff, but there's a lot of good tunes. And obviously, so sad we lost Ace, man. Kiss, one of the reasons I'm even talking to you guys, and one of the reasons I even started playing guitar, because I dabble a little bit. I'm no Ace Frehley, but I try my best. So anyways, I guess how I'm gonna tackle this, I'm just gonna pick a couple tunes from each record that I really like quite a bit. And, these first couple records, they're kind of split between Ace vocally and Todd Howarth vocally, which both, I think it's cool because they have such contradicting voices, and it really works on like some of these songs. And one of the songs I'll mention on the second record, they actually sing together. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the first record, self-titled for the band, Frehley's Comet, 1987, I believe. So if I'm right here, I'm pretty sure it's 87. Yeah, 87. A lot of good tunes. I knew this record way before most of the other solo records. I actually didn't even really listen to the other ones until I started going over to my cousins and working out together. Ladano will get a kick out of that. But yeah, this one I knew for a long time. Of course, Rock Soldiers and Into the Night are the big tunes, the singles they released off the record. Russ Ballard, of course, wrote Into the Night, which, he wrote New York Groove as well. So Ace is kind of going back to that well. Had a hit before, let's try it again. And that was a semi-hit. Great song, pretty cool video. And I love Rock Soldiers as well. Kind of telling Ace's story about almost wrecking and, almost dying from a car wreck in '83, I think. A couple other highlights for me. Breakout, the second track on the record, which kind of formed out of a jam that him and Eric Carr had. Eric Carr actually gets writing credit on that, along with Richie Scarlett, which I'll bring up in a little bit. But yeah, those three all in a row too on the first side. This is great stuff. Some of Todd's tunes on this record, Something Moved, and especially Calling You has always been a favorite for me. Especially Calling You used to be Megaforce for his old band 707, so it's kind of cool to hear it rewrote like that. And yeah, Stranger in Strangeland I thought was a strong track on this record. Kind of Ace, doing a swagger, vocal. He always had that kind of swagger to him. I thought that was a cool tune. And all the instrumentals that he did throughout his solo career, I really enjoy. Even like if you put like all of the instrumentals on a record and like put it out like that, that'd be pretty cool to me. All the Fractured. This one, of course, is Fractured too. But yeah, plenty of great tunes. Standout record. Probably one of my favorite solo albums he did. Any of the first three, like I said. Then we'll get the Second Sighting, which is from '88, just a year after. And Ace is kind of starting to stumble back into his old habits and stuff. So Todd really does a majority of the songwriting on here. He does, it's kind of half and half, but Todd sings quite a bit of this record, it seems like to me. And some of the songs, it sounds more like Todd's doing a lot of the leads and stuff as well, but it's hard telling, I guess. There's a great Ace tune, probably one of my favorite Ace tunes, and he did this tune live quite often. Insane, which is the kickoff track, and I love the video too. It's just rock and roll excess to 100 on that video. And yeah, Todd's two ballad type songs I really enjoy on this record. It's Over Now and Fallen Angel, which I think it's Fallen Angel. Ace does a lead on that. You can kind of tell the difference. Them guys don't really sound alike when they're playing leads. But yeah, Loser in a Fight is the one I was mentioning that Frehley and Todd both sing. And I really like their vocals together. It's kind of interesting to hear it like that. And yeah, the instrumental at the end of this album, The Acorn is Spinning, which is kind of cool, kind of going into his gambling. There's like a voiceover while the music's playing, which I thought was kind of cool. It's got this like main theme it goes back to. Some pretty cool songs on this record. Juvenile Delinquent's another one. But yeah, solid, 80s hard rock. It's just kind of unfortunate these records didn't move as much as they probably thought they were going to. Because a lot of this stuff should have been really big to me, especially the Todd sung songs. But yeah, so that's like basically the end of the Frehley's Comet Band. There is a live +1, which has Words Are Not Enough, I believe is what the song's called. And that's another great tune from Ace. And we get to the album Trouble Walking, which is kind of Ace's first solo record after the Kiss one. And there's all kinds of guests on here. Richie Scarlett, who I mentioned earlier, he comes back to do some rhythm and vocals on, I think it's, Too Young to Die. He sings that song. And yeah, Peter Criss does some backing vocals, and a lot of the guys from Skid Row do some stuff, backing vocals on this record, which I thought was pretty cool. Probably, if I had to pick one, this might be the one to me, because I think it's like really strong. It really shows, everything Ace is good at, all the different lyrical kind of themes and all the hard rock kind of things, and even the cover songs are really good on this record, I thought, as well, which, of course, Do Ya is an old ELO song, and Hide Your Heart is kind of a weird story with that one, because, Kiss recorded it later, and Molly Hatchet and Bonnie Tyler, I think, recorded it. So there's a bunch of people recording Hide Your Heart all around the same time, too. But the other tunes, I really love the opener, Shot Full of Rock, and Five Card Stud. I think if I had to pick one Ace Frehley song, probably from a solo career, that'd be the one, man. I just love the way the riff is on that track. And, it's very cool, the changes in it. But yeah, Fractured 3, of course, is the instrumental. All kinds of good stuff on that record. And then we take a huge break, which Ladano was telling me and Tim in the chat, in our little text chat, that there is a couple tunes in between this, which I'm sure he covered, which that's pretty cool. I need to check them out. But the next one would be 2009. He does Anomaly, which I did not fold mine out into a pyramid, guys. I'm sorry. I guess I'm slacking on the visual effect here. But I got the cover and I got the back here, which this is the one I just got this Saturday, I think, Saturday night. I started playing it like Sunday, and it's really starting to grow on me. A lot of great tunes on this record. I think I heard his cover of Fox on the Run before on maybe some other thing. Maybe Spotify recommended it to me. But the originals on this record are great, man. Like Foxy and Free, I love it. It's like a homage to Jimi Hendrix. He's singing, I know he sings about Foxy Lady and certain other things that have Hendrix influence. And Outer Space is like a typical Ace song for like Kiss, maybe. Pain in the Neck's another great, I think it's in like drop D. It's like really heavy. And the instrumentals on this record I really enjoy. Space Bear and Fractured Quantum. Both of them are really solid tracks. And on this one too, Ace starts to kind of get like retrospective about his life, like A Little Below the Angels and It's a Great Life, which even like a guy like Ozzy we talked about on the show a little while back, he kind of did the same thing, like Life Won't Wait, that's on Scream. He's kind of talking about the same, like, take hold of life while you have it kind of thing. So I always thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, Genghis Khan is pretty great. I just the lyrics in that one's, but it's not, it's more instrumental than it is anything. But yeah, that's a solid record. I almost named like everything on it. I really enjoy that album. which that one leads us to a couple years later. He does Space Invader, which I really need to find a copy of this one because I really enjoy this one. Kind of the same way with Anomaly was the first three tunes, the title track, probably one of Ace's best songs by himself, and Give Me a Feeling and I Want to Hold You, really catchy kind of hard rock pop kind of hook choruses kind of things going on. And I like the song Toys as well. He's like talking about his guns and his guitars, and it's kind of like a grown-up version of Dolls from Frehley's Comet, I guess. Pretty funny. And yeah, Inside the Vortex kind of goes back to the space thing, and Past the Milky Way does the same thing. And the instrumental Starship at the end is really cool. And I like how Ace does he's talking about George Jetson at the end, and he does his signature laugh, man, you know. Gonna miss him a lot, man, you know. Stuff like that just reminds you about how good of a, instrumental, like songwriter he was. I mean, that song's over 7 minutes and it doesn't get boring one time. But yeah, I really like Space Invader. And that kind of leads us into the covers albums, which I kind of don't have a lot of experience with. I like that he kind of got guys who were influenced by him on the records, and even like Paul Stanley is on the first one when they do Fire and Water. I have seen that video a couple times. It's pretty cool hearing them cover Free, and Paul Kossoff was obviously a big influence on Ace, which it kind of shows on a song like that. And yeah, John Five's on there doing Parasite, and Mike McCready from Pearl Jam. They do Cold Gin together. Which that's the thing about these covers albums I think I like the best, because Ace is like taking like the old Kiss songs that he didn't sing, and he sings, on these tunes. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the one, probably the biggest mention here is Rock and Roll Hell, because he wasn't on Creatures of the Night. But, it kind of makes sense when you think about it. That does sound like a song Ace would sing, especially around this time with his substance abuse issues. And it's just a great tune, and I think he does a great version of it. I did listen to that one. So that'll take us up to 2018 Spaceman, which I haven't opened yet. I still got it sealed up, but I have listened to it online. Pretty cool cover of Ace. I think there's a couple variants of this. And this kind of returns two of the guys from the original lineup of Kiss. Gene Simmons helps Ace write a couple tunes on this record, and he plays on the first tune, which I think is one of the strongest on the record, Without You I'm Nothing. That's just a great kind of hard rock. Gene kind of has this like funk bass line going on throughout it, which I thought was pretty cool. Doesn't sound out of place off something off Dynasty, maybe, Yeah, Rockin' with the Boys was a good track, and I read Ace had that for a long time, so it's cool it finally saw the light of day. Your Wish Is My Command is the other Gene tune. And Bronx Boy, if you like Hard Times off Dynasty, it's kind of like the same subject matter. Really, the first 5 tunes are all great on this record. Pursuit of Rock and Roll is great because he's talking about like Chuck Berry and Little Richard and the Stones and the Beatles, all the influences. And yeah, Quantum Flux at the end. I thought that was a great tune. So yeah, it's just another solid record in a line of great records from the Spaceman, I would say. Which leads us to Origins Volume 2, which has more covers. John Five's back here doing I'm Down from the Beatles. Lita Ford's back on this one. She was on the last one. John Five's on the Politician cover, the Cream song as well. And Robin Zander does 30 Days in the Hole with Ace. Thought that was pretty cool. Probably the highlight for me off this one that I've listened to is him and Bruce Kulick actually getting together and doing Hendrix song, Manic Depression, which I thought that was pretty cool. Because, you always love to see, especially in a band like this that have had so many different lineups, you see 2 guitar players kind of meet up, and it's pretty awesome they did something like that. So yeah, and that takes us to his last record, 10,000 Volts, which was the only one past Anomaly I was familiar with. When it released, I listened to it quite a bit, and yeah, I think it's a solid record. Looking back at it now, after about a year's time since it came out, still really enjoy the title track, 10,000 Volts. I think it's kind of like a sequel to Shock Me in a way. And all the singles were pretty decent on the record. Cherry Medicine was like a upbeat pop kind of song, and the other one was Walking on the Moon, which kind of had like a laid back like vibe. I thought it was pretty cool, like a mid tempo jam kind of thing. And probably the other song on the record, besides Stratosphere, of course, another instrumental. I'm glad he ended, you know, his last, unfortunately, his last studio record with an instrumental like that. But the big highlight, I think, for me is Fighting for Life. I really like that tune. It's kind of like the harder edged kind of Ace coming back. So yeah, that's my basic rundown of the 7 or 8 solo records and Frehley's Comet records that he had. And yeah, I'm just thanks to Tim again for letting me throw this idea out at you. And you and Mike, I'm sure, did a great job, man. I'm looking forward to watching the video. And I know I'm in the video right now, but it's kind of funny. But yeah, just catch me on Slogan's Rock and Metal Extravaganza sometime. Me and my buddy Sydney always talk hard rock and metal, and actually we did a video about the best songs of Kiss, though I wasn't on it because my internet screwed up. But I did tell my picks later on. So Ace will be missed. He's one of the greats, man. So take care, guys.
So here we are with the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend. They're digging underneath. It's like the ET cartridges in the desert, but they found him. Here he is, Mike Ladano.
Hey Tim, how you doing?
Grab a snack of rock. All right. Yeah, I'm doing good, Mike. Thanks for doing this. This is going to continue on from what's already been talked about. But man, it's still hard to believe that Ace is gone. Like it's really weird.
Right. So it's been about 2.5 weeks, I think. Not even. And for me, it's very surreal because that day I was not really. I was going to the cottage that day, so I was driving when all this was happening. And then I pull into a gas station and I get gas, and there's messages from all my friends. Yeah, Ace is gone. And so my wife and I, just knowing that there was all this talk about Ace, we played Ace's albums all the way to the cottage that day in honor of the spaceman. And I really suspected what was going to happen. So, I mean, I was feeling very poignant. And as much as I've been playing this music, and I have been just inundating myself with this music, I can't believe that he's gone. I fully expect, Origins 3 is coming soon, and
it's a weird one. So, and I think that it's important that what we're doing here, I mean, so many people have, man, like I would say for the first 3 or 4 days, and it still happens, but for the first 3 or 4 days, almost everything on my Instagram feed was Ace or Kiss. Like it was, and a lot of it was, they had, the weird timing about it is they had just announced the Dress to Kill set.
Yeah.
So it was so weird. But we're going to be talking about everything that Ace did on his own, like starting in 1987 onward to really just recently. So I'm curious as to not only what all Mike has, because he's going to have some promo stuff that no one's seen before because it's Mike, but also the versions of the CDs that we have. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about the CDs. And so we'll get started with the inaugural album that came out in 1987, Frehley's Comet, under the artist name Ace Frehley. I've got an original U.S. Megaforce Atlantic. It looks like we've got the same version of this. It's interesting that they use, for the back, they use the same font. I mean, that's the Atlantic font. I don't know what it's called, but it's the Atlantic font. So this album was really, I mean, it was Ace's return, right? It was Ace's return to the spotlight. And the band had sort of a unified look, and a strong lineup. Really strong lineup. I mean, Anton Fig, of course, that's a shoo-in. He's going to be on the drums on the album anyway. John Regan and Todd Howarth. I think he put together, he's had different bands over the years, but to me, that's Frehley's Comet.
The original lineup that we came to, although not the original lineup that he formed. It's the original lineup that recorded this album. Tim, it was back in the summer of '87, and there's a reason I remember it well.
I knew you were going to say that.
My sister gave me this album on cassette. for my birthday that
Yeah.
summer, and I played it so much, and I kind of like I picked out what I thought the next singles should be, and I didn't think he was going to pick Rock Soldiers actually for the second single because Into the Night was the first single. I was pleasantly surprised. I think there's some great stuff on this album and some great music videos that they did at the time. Ace really just plunged right into that late 80s modern rock scene.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
had a cool image. I'll show the image again, but I thought they had a cool looking band. And I also want to point out John Regan. I was really paying attention to the bass on a lot of this stuff. And in addition to the songwriting, his bass playing's underrated.
It
He
is. Yeah.
he was an amazing bassist.
Now, there's one thing that I didn't notice until I got, actually, I don't think I noticed it until I got the vinyl, and then I realized it was inside the CD too. What is going on with, I don't know how well that's going to show up, but what is that?
That's a primate. I don't know which one. One of the long nose ones, and I think Ace designed that. Ace put that in there.
Okay, there's something very Ace about that, but
Yeah.
I think that this is a pretty strong album. I was listening to it a few times in recently. I think side one is better than side two overall. Um,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
but it's strong. I mean, Eddie Trunk, who was heavily involved in getting Ace signed, which is pretty cool, says this. He figures this album, if it's not gold, it's close to it. So it sold pretty good. Um, Into the Night is great. I mean, Ace comes back to the Russ Ballard well again, but what a great song! Great vocal from Ace. Like he sings really good on that, and great guitar. I love the guitar solo, and I love that fade out guitar. To me, that song, that's another one of those songs that could fade out for another 2 minutes and I'd be right there.
And can we point out that Ace wasn't playing his Les Paul? He was playing that.
That weird
It might have been a
thing
Kramer or something, but it
with
had that lightning bolt.
is that the one that also had the extra arm on it or something?
I don't remember that. There was one like that. I don't think that was the one. It's not the one I'm thinking about in the Into the Night music video.
Oh,
Of
right.
course, he did play the Les Paul, but that was sort of like the new guitar that he was endorsing. And I also want to shout out "Calling to You" with Todd Howarth on lead vocals. I I will tell you this is that I like Frehley's Comet when he's got two singers.
I think
Uh,
Ace is always best served by having a co-lead vocalist.
and Calling to You's a cover, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, a semi
I
cover.
discovered that in '95, and it's just really weird because it's so obscure. But um, a buddy of mine I used to play guitar with, I haven't seen him in years. The apartment he was staying at, his landlord had a bunch of old, like early '80s rock records, and one of them was by a band called 707.
Right,
The album was called Megaforce.
right.
And I remember Joe telling me, yeah, there's he's got this record. I think you'd like it. It sounds like the kind of stuff you'd like. And anyway, I went over there one night and I looked at it. And the first thing I noticed was um, Todd Howarth was in the band. Another guy that was in the band was Kevin Chalfant, who ended up singing on the first or on the Storm albums. He sounds a lot like Steve Perry, which is why the Storm I thought was Journey reunited in '91. And that's not the original 707 lineup. They had a different lineup on their first two albums, but this Mega Force album came out in 1982. It was on. They were one of those bands like early like Night Ranger's first album were on Boardwalk Records, melodic rock of the time. It wasn't anything spectacular, but there was one song on there called Megaforce, which is
Right.
from a movie called
Right.
Megaforce.
Remember that?
It's calling to you.
Yeah.
He rewrote the lyrics, but it's the same song.
It's a great song in my opinion.
Yeah. So I thought that I was like, I didn't know that. I love learning things like that. In pre-internet, it was hit and miss, and that's so obscure. I'm like, it's so weird that he had this record.
Right. Yeah.
Because everything else was fairly mainstream. But it's like the difference between obscure and not obscure can be really weird because you can hear a song, like it, and go out and buy the album. The difference is whether hundreds of thousands of other people do the same thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no difference in how you discover it. It's like, but over the years, it's like you look back and go, well, what is this? I don't even remember buying this.
Yeah.
Anyway, uh, so a good start.
A
You
great
know,
start.
it definitely. Well, okay, we'll move on.
Yeah.
The next one is a CD that we talked about on one of our rare CD episodes, and
Yeah.
I really, really like this EP, Live Plus One. Came out in early 1988, and I was so happy to find this CD in a dump bin. As you can see, it's got a hole punch. Uh,
Mine's black.
Now you've got a Canadian one. You've got a Canadian one. That's kind of even cooler. But yeah,
Yeah.
these
Scarborough, Ontario.
yeah these EPs are different, or because they don't always survive issues. But this is a good collection of songs. Obviously, doing them live, he can basically do whatever he wants. There's not much for credits in here, but just rip it out. Breakout, which is really cool because it's kind of an honorary Kiss song.
Yeah.
Because Eric Carr co-wrote it. It's his riff, right? It's Car Jam 1981, whatever. Something Moved, I think, is one of Todd Howard's best Frehley's Comet songs. Rocket Ride, cool. And I really like Words Are Not Enough, which was the new studio track on it.
Okay, so Tim, last night, as of this recording, I did my Ace Frehley tribute, which is up on my channel as a separate video now. I did my top 11 Ace Frehley tracks, and Words Are Not Enough was my number one.
Yeah, it's good. It's super catchy. Maybe they did, and I never saw it, but they should have done a video and really promoted that as a single.
I do not think that they did.
No.
And I kind of noted in my video that there's a sequencer bit there, very reminiscent of what ZZ Top were doing at that time.
Yeah.
With that digga 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 digga.
Oh yeah,
you know.
yeah. And it's funny when you think about that because it sounds like somebody's going da 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 da, but it's not. A sequencer, I've learned over the years or figured out, is just you can set it to a particular speed, to a particular tone, and hit one key. Like, so it'll do that, whatever that is.
Right.
That shows up in 80s songs everywhere. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people, or, you know, or they'd use it as the germ of an idea and create a song around it. But a good song, really catchy, and again, a really good vocal from Ace. When I think when Eddie Kramer was working with Ace, he got the best vocal out of him, my opinion.
And Ace was in good voice at this point.
Ace was, yeah, he was in good shape. He was
healthy.
Now, I guess that would change because, spoiler alert, I think Words Are Not Enough is better than anything that's on the next album.
Okay, so I like both. I really like Second Sighting. I have rated it unusually high, I guess, in my personal life. But I get what people are saying. Ace himself felt rushed when he made this album.
They had the Iron Maiden tour coming up.
Right.
And I can tell you that, Mike, in all honesty, I don't like this album at all.
I love this album.
Well, Mike's wrong as usual, folks.
Well, I'm going to defend myself.
No, like you're the first person that you, honest to God, you're the first person that's ever said they like this album. So please elaborate.
Okay. So this is on Megaforce, and I was an Ace Frehley mega fan. This is a reissue, by the way. I bought this in the 90s.
This disc looks cool.
Don't know if it was remastered or not, but it's dated 1998.
Right.
Now, when I first heard it, I was like deep into Ace. I had already loved Words Are Not Enough. I kind of wanted more of that sound, but that's not what this is. This is a much, I don't know. It sounds less produced, but insane. I think amazing start. And then we get to Todd's song, Time Ain't Running Out. It's got a huge chorus. It's got that little keyboard bit, which is probably also a sequencer. Dancing with Danger. It's like 3 in a row that I love. And then the ballad, It's Over Now, which was a weird track to lead off to. Like, I remember sitting in my basement.
Yeah, that was a video. Yeah.
I remember sitting in my basement, like, and that's the lead single. Todd Howarth is singing on the lead single, and it's a ballad. That was a weird choice. Loser in a Fight, not so great. Juvenile Delinquent, I love. Fallen Angel, I love. Another Todd song with a huge chorus. Separate, I love. I new kind of lover, like that chorus, and the acorn is spinning. I was playing a video game that summer, a boxing video game, and I named my boxer the Acorn after this song. I love everything about this album.
That makes sense because Ace has got the computer graphics there.
There it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's inside mine. I love not every song. I love everything except for Loser in a Fight, really. And this is the inside of mine. Look, it's somebody doing that.
Yeah, that's in mine too. Mine's an old Atlantic US one I happened to find, and it was also a cutout. I just put it in a new case, but it's got the uh, part has been torn out of it.
Check out the also available on the inside. It includes 12 picks.
Okay, yeah, that's obviously so. This one is an original '88 one. I'm glad somebody likes it.
Okay.
So let me tell you what if I was gonna take anything off this album. Insane is a pretty typical Ace song. It's not bad. There was a video for it. I don't remember seeing it at the time.
Never saw it.
It was years later.
I've never seen
Dancing
it.
with Danger is a Streetheart song, which is really weird. It's not that different. I heard the Streetheart version. Kenny Shields, the late singer for Streetheart, screams his head off on that, by the way, if you ever want to hear it. Now, full disclosure, with all due respect, I'm not the biggest Todd Howarth fan. I'm not crazy about his vocals. So therefore, I'm not crazy about most of this album because to his credit, he had to step up because Ace was not in good shape
Mm-hmm.
and they had a deadline.
Mm-hmm.
It's over now. For me, it falls completely flat. I think it's completely unmemorable. Sorry. It doesn't do what a ballad like that should. Fallen Angel. There's a video they shot for that too, which didn't get shown until years later. It's the kind of song I should like, but to me, there's no hook.
Okay.
Don't. It's to me that song sounds like it's trying hard. I mean the riff, down and down and like, but it just falls flat. And much of this album. Anyway, you like it. Let's not put
So
it
I've
on
heard
again.
that about Todd Howarth before from other people, but when I was a kid, I loved his voice, you know? But
I mean,
okay.
it's not a bad. I just.
Now check this out, Tim. I got that on Amazon. I
That's
forgot to show
cool.
this. Forgot to show this when we were on 87, but we may as I because I put it in the
Excellent.
wrong. I
So
thought
basically, is this a kind of an extended version of Live Plus One, sort of?
no, I believe well, it's a different gig.
Well, I know that, but like, would
Yeah,
it be that would be like a typical gig from the time?
yes. And the drummer was not Anton.
With Jamie Aldaker, yeah.
No, it wasn't Jamie. I believe it was Billy Ward on this
Oh
one.
yes, yes, okay. And I think Billy Ward was in the Knack at one point.
That could be. He's one of the lesser known members of the band. There's some
But
like this is nice. Like I guess this is a
that's well done.
radio.
Yeah, no, that's well done actually, and not all of those bootlegs are. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this is a really nice one. That's it was you'd almost call it semi-official, but
What's the gig? Do you know where that gig is from?
Milwaukee Live 87.
Does it have a
And
date on it?
on the back it says 29th of June 87. It's one of the first performances after the album came out.
I
After the
wonder.
first album came out.
I'm curious, Mike, as I would be naturally curious, because I know that on some of the shows on that tour, Y&T opened for Ace, or in some places where they had a good following, like in the Bay Area, co-headlined.
Okay, I don't see anything about Y&T here in the back. I listened to it this week and I don't remember them saying anything about Y&T on stage. I don't
But I
quote
also,
me. Don't
but I
quote
also
me.
think Faster Pussycat opened for some of the shows too. So I think Faster Pussycat opened, and then Y&T either co-headlined or was special guest, or however it turned out, right?
Yeah.
Um, No, that's very cool. Yep, Jamie Oldaker played on Second Sighting. He came from Eric Clapton's band. He was not a
Yes.
hard rock drummer at all. He's since passed on too.
S-
It's
J-
sad. I mean, John Regan's passed on, and yeah, now
Jamie
A.
Oldacre has commented on my blog, on my
That's
review of Second
right. Yes,
Sighting.
that's right.
Because
Yes,
I
good,
did give it a glowing review,
good
which got some
thing.
negative comments, including there was a negative comment about Jamie Oldacre's drumming. And Jamie Oldacre stood up and defended himself and said, I'm good enough for Eric Clapton.
Yeah, look, there's nothing wrong with the performances on Second Sight.
He's a different kind of drummer than
There's,
Anton Fig. They're
I
two
just don't think
very
this.
different
I just
drummers.
personally don't think the songs were there, but that's just my opinion.
But in regards to the drums, they are two very different drummers. They don't
Yeah.
have the same
I
style at
mean,
all.
Anton Fig, you know, he would have been making way more money playing the Letterman show than going
Yeah.
on tour with his buddy Ace as much as
But they were buddies.
they were buddies.
And they
So,
work well together. I think
oh,
Anton brought out the best in Ace.
I think so too. Yeah. I think when you had Anton and Eddie Kramer and you had that, yeah.
Hey, Tim, can I try a segue?
A segue.
Yeah. So, Tim, what did you think about? How did you find out that Anton Fig came back for the next Ace Frehley album, Trouble Walking?
I have absolutely no idea because I wasn't following.
I remember I bought the album and somebody at the record store told me, and Anton's back on drums,
Okay.
and I was like, "What?" I didn't expect that, but no more
No.
no more Comet.
No, I was not a Kiss fan, therefore I was not an Ace fan. I also do want to say that, for and it's funny, like, we have like the ongoing messenger chats and stuff, and Matt will tease me if I say anything
Yeah.
because he's awesome. But anyway, I I'm not a huge fan of any of these albums.
Wow.
I love Ace, but I'm not a huge fan of any of them. I'm not saying I don't like any of them, but none of them really go. There's never been an Ace Frehley album I love this album. I was like, yeah, it's pretty good.
So,
That's about
folks,
as
I'll gush for a moment and say that I bought this shortly after I bought the Kiss album, Hot in the Shade, which was they were like weeks apart from each other, and both contained the song "Hide Your Heart." I
as
preferred Kiss's "Hide Your Heart" to
yeah.
this.
As did also another album that came out around that time, Molly Hatchet's
Right.
Lightning Strikes Twice. Bonnie Tyler had already recorded it a year earlier. It was like everybody's song, but it is really weird that Ace recorded it. So, but having said all of that, Ace is the only member of Kiss whose solo stuff I've ever bothered with. So that should tell you something.
Okay. Fair.
I do not like Paul Stanley's solo album, Live to Win.
No,
I
I don't either.
hated Gene Simmons' Asshole album. Hated, 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 hated it. Peter Criss, I never
Cringe.
bothered. Peter Criss, I never bothered with. Vinnie Vincent, enough said. But so it should tell you something that I bothered with Ace because I'm not a solo project, side project guy at all.
I think you'd
Ever.
really like BK3 by Bruce Kulick, but that's a conversation for another
Side
video. I
project.
know, but we'll talk offline about
I
that.
loved Union.
I'm going to pester
I
you
loved
offline.
Union. I'll shut it off. I loved Union. I was hoping Union would continue, but anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trouble Walking, late '89. The version that I picked up is a U.S. Columbia House version, probably very similar to. Yeah, Mike's got a Canadian version. You know how I can tell it's a Canadian version right away without seeing the address?
What's
It's
that?
it's the serial number. If it says CD and then the
Uh,
number, as opposed to the U.S. ones usually go 7, then the 5-digit number -2.
gotcha.
Now the Columbia House version just goes A2 and then the serial number. But if it says, and plus you've got the black Megaforce there, that kind of
Yeah, a
marks it
two
as
color,
Canadian. Yeah.
two color spine.
Now I do remember when this album came out because I used to listen to a syndicated radio show called Metal Shop. Mike's skipping ahead.
Oh, sorry.
So I knew this album was back, and I remember they played "Shot Full of Rock," which I thought was kind of a cool song. And I'll be honest with you, I think this album's better than "Trouble Walking," but I still don't think it's.
Second sighting. Better than second sighting.
Yeah, most
Yeah.
things are. But anyway, so I mean, and yeah, Ace obviously felt very strongly about this because it did get released under his own name.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, none of these albums, I mean, the best shot he had was with the first one, and it didn't click. So everything else, even though he kind of did a lot in a short amount of time, none of them really caught on, and they were like, you saw them used for a long time after that. Of course, what really remember what from that session was the fact that he had the Skid Row guys on
Mhm.
some of the songs.
And Peter Criss.
See, that meant nothing to me at
Mm.
the time. At the time. And there's Peter Criss with his bleach blonde hair.
Yeah.
But I think that "Too Young to Die" is one of the best songs on the album. So the
Now
Kiss
that's
Connect.
Richie. That's Richie Scarlett singing lead on "Too Young to Die."
Oh, it is. I thought it was
Yeah.
Peter.
Well, funny thing, Tim, for the longest time, I thought it was Peter as well until somebody told me, no. Richie Scarlett has a very similar voice, which he does.
Okay.
So if you listen to a song on one of these later albums that you recently acquired there's a Richie Scarlett lead vocal and you'll hear the similarity.
Okay.
I thought it was Peter for years, especially because there's a line there where he goes, "A hungry cat calls." And I was like, oh, self-referencing, cool. But it wasn't. It was Richie Scarlett.
So
That's his only lead vocal. That's his only lead vocal on this.
a word about Richie Scarlett. And again, this is not personal. I don't know the guy. I know Ace would swear by this guy, and people say he's great. What do they call him? The Duke of Rock and Roll?
The Emperor,
The Emperor of Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
I have yet to see a clip of them live in concert where that man knows how to tune his guitar. He's perpetually out of tune. Sounds like crap.
I personally
Apparently,
preferred.
apparently, there's something wrong with my ears because no one else says that. I've never heard a clip where it's like, and that's supposed to be a nice smooth chord. Like he's out of tune with the rest of the. I don't know. I don't know. I've got no vendetta. There's nothing there. I just don't care for his whole thing. But yeah, you held up the single, which
Yeah.
I think is a Ace typically, there's a few missteps, picks really good songs to cover. I had never heard the ELO version of Do Ya. I
Hmm.
think Ace knocks this one out of the park. It sounds like it was written for him to sing. And I heard the ELO version, which is like, I remember thinking it's weird that this is an ELO song because this is a guitar driven song. Well, the ELO version is too. Um, it's pretty faithful to the way that the of course there's the orchestration and the multi-track like Jeff Lynne harmonies, but it's the same song. Anton, boof, da da, love that.
You know what I love about it?
Everything.
That's
Wow. Yeah,
the yeah.
it's a cool video.
Yeah, on the
Cool
beach
video.
there.
To me, I
Yeah,
think it's the only video they did for that album.
it is. As far as I know, it's the only one I ever
Yeah.
saw. I
Uh,
thought that a lot of these albums were under promoted in the late 80s. Like this album just got drowned under all the other
There
things
was
that
an
were out.
awful lot happening, and plus, I mean, it's we need to point out that Kiss's star wasn't as no pun intended wasn't as high as it would have been.
No, they
You
were in their
know,
crisis mode as
even
well.
though Hot in the Shade had a top 10 single, but that was almost like
That was an
separate.
anomaly.
It's
To coin a phrase, that was an anomaly.
but that's a case where I think more people bought the single than bought the album
Yeah,
because
the single was
most
out in a mass release as
yeah,
well.
and also because if you think about it, Mike, most albums that contain a top 10 single or at least single platinum.
Yeah, and that was
Anyway,
probably the case in '89.
so I
Then
like
we have the
Remember
inter.
Me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
like Remember Me. And of course, yeah, we should also mention, of course, Ace did Fractured Mirror on the Frehley's Comet album. The first one, he did Fractured 2,
Yeah.
TOO. He's got Fractured 3 on here. I don't think any of those compare with the original, but it's cool that he continued that. So I mean, for Kiss fans, there's always you know what? Maybe that's another reason why I never really cared for Second Sighting because all of the other albums in this period, this 87, 89, there were strong Kiss links because uh, the first album had Breakout, which is co-written by Eric Carr and started life as a Kiss song. And you have obviously Live Plus One. He does two Kiss songs and Breakout.
Mm-hmm.
On here, you've got Hide Your Heart. Peter is on it somewhere. There's just, and he's doing the fractured thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's none of that on Second Sighting. It's almost like a Todd Howarth solo album with Ace making an occasional appearance. It doesn't feel like an Ace album at all.
No, you're right. I've been conscious of that, but never kind of put two and two together, like you say.
But I
Can
don't know.
I
At the time, I can understand there was really no other way it could have been.
shout out Back to School with Sebastian Bach on
Back to
backing vocal,
school,
but
yeah!
that part, right,
Yeah.
like isn't that hook just awesome?
It's way better than the song itself. The song is silly. I'm
The
sorry.
song is
The
terrible.
song is ridiculous, but Sebastian, you can hear the enthusiasm and the saving grace there for me. Like I said, was not a Kiss fan, was not an Ace fan, but I loved Skid Row. They were like my favorite band on one album at that time. So I remember them being so excited, and of course, yes, it would have been a thrill. Um, yeah, it would have. That's cool. I mean, that elevates us. That would have been such a forgettable song if it wasn't for Bass.
It's worth pointing out though that Baz was Ace struck while the iron was hot because the Skid Row album came out earlier that year. And then
Yeah.
he's got the hottest new singer in rock in a prominent role on that song.
Yeah.
A serious miss not to release as a single, in my opinion.
I mean, being on the same label, pretty much,
Yeah.
the same parent label, a video with Sebastian in it at that
Could-
time, as recognizable as he was becoming,
Huge
might have
miss.
gotten a gold record out of it. And I'm not saying it would have, and it would have been deserved. Maybe not for that song, but anyway. Yeah.
I will
So yeah,
also say though, there's that song you mentioned earlier, "Remember
I
Me."
like that one.
Okay, I'm calling BS on it being live from the Club
Oh, it's not.
Remulac in France. Like
It's not
that's
live.
fake.
No,
That's
no,
fake.
it's not live. No, but I like it. It's
But yet
you
they've
don't think it.
included it on some of these later
I
compilations. They've
know,
included. Okay,
but
we'll
you know
get there.
what? It was you don't think of Ace as playing the blues, but I like it.
I love that song. It's so goofy.
Yeah,
It's like a real peace love kind of lyric.
but it's Ace. It's prime Ace.
Well, Ace, as far as aliens go, he's a peace love kind of alien. He's like, hey, I'm here to help solve your problems. He's not here to give me all your
He's
full
he's
press
he,
latinum.
he's not. We have assumed control. He's more what's going on, Caroline?
And this is basically from the perspective of an alien looking down on Earth and all of its problems and saying, chill. You guys got to learn to chill and get along.
Yeah. I've never really heard much about it, but how imagine a conversation between Ace and Sammy Hagar. They're both UFO. They're both UFO guys, right? Like you'd be sitting there like looking back and forth and like, guys are freaking me out right now.
Throw Mick Mars into that mixture.
No, let's not.
He's a serious believer in the UFOs.
Yeah, but he's weird.
they all are, Tim.
They all are. But Mix like look at you and you're like, oh, I don't feel good. He's a great guitar player.
Yeah.
Nick's a great guitar. Okay.
No,
So yeah, as you alluded to, of course, there was a big to use a fancy word, dearth or dearth.
Right.
That's a big word like gymnasium. Between anything featuring Ace. The next thing I have that's Ace related is from 1996.
I have he did the Just for Fun tour in 1994, but yeah, 1996 when the Kiss reunion was hot, it was big news. All of a sudden they started doing Ace stuff again, and out came Spacewalk.
Yeah. Now, is this one of the ones that you switched the
I did. Doesn't that look sweet? Look how sweet that looks.
I think that is such a brilliant idea that I cannot believe I never thought of it. Not that I worked in a record store, but it's just such a cool idea to switch the trays to one. And I like the fact that it's like the Star Trek font.
Mm.
Yeah.
And also check out the Ace astronaut. Like that's a cool way to avoid using the makeup, but still it's still Ace,
That is as a buddy of mine used to say, he's got the super V.
The super V?
The super V.
The chest.
Yeah, that's a super V.
So this came out in the summer of 96, and we immediately started seeing used copies of the 10-track version, but which I bought initially.
That's what I've got in my hand, but
I traded up
for
the 11-track version, which includes
Take
Me to the City, which has Sebastian Bach on backing vocals, but that's Ace Frehley. That is not a cover.
I forgot about that, but so is it a good song?
Oh my God. It was on again. It was on my list last night of my top 11 Ace Frehley tracks. Here's the credits for you.
Check that out. Yeah.
Vocal Ace Frehley, background vocals Sebastian Bach, Steve Werner, and Carl Cochran, and your buddy Richie Scarlett. Guitars by Ace Frehley, Richie Scarlett. Bass by Carl Cochran, drums by Steve Werner, produced by Ace Frehley. It has a huge chorus. I won't subject you to it because I sang it on my show last night. But at the end, Bach comes in kind of echoing Ace, and it's really cool. It's a minor moment. It's not a huge moment, but dude, made my top 11 Ace songs.
Okay, well, night. I've got to seek that version of it out because I've just got the 10-track version. I mean, it's an impressive list of players on here, but this is getting into that era where there were so many tribute albums and you could almost guess who was going to be on them.
Yes, it was very much into the tribute album era.
Yeah.
Encomium, a tribute to Led Zeppelin, was a year or two before that, and we had Nativity in Black.
But this is way better than the Kiss My Ass album.
Oh,
way better.
Yeah. Oh,
way more listenable.
Oh, yeah. Dimebag. For Dimebag fans. There you go. There's Dimebag.
So one thing that's interesting about this, and I'm not just saying this because I wrote a book about the band. A guy that you never see pop up on these types of things, you never really see him pop up much of anywhere, is Jeff Watson from Night Ranger.
I was going to email
And,
you about
and
that.
he's on Hard Luck Woman with
Hmm.
Ron Young from Little Caesar. Now, how Little Caesar, anyway, that's the Bitch tribute album. He does Little Caesar. That's cool.
Yes, yes,
But yeah, it's a good song selection. I mean, there's a lot of songs from the '78 album, and as there should be. I do not like the version of New York Groove at all. Um,
yeah.
but for the most part, yeah, it's decent. I really like Rip It Out. That's good.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah. Yeah, as far as the tribute albums go, like take a look at the artwork for this, and then take a look at the artwork for the Thunderbolt, which is the AC/DC
Oh,
tribute, which I do like, but that cover art is terrible. This is how you do it right.
yeah.
So,
Now, do you have this tribute album that came out the following year?
no, I wasn't. I remember reading about that. I was in no hurry to get that.
This was like a mail order deal, Shock Records, but there's some good stuff on here. It was the mid 90s, and the presidents of the United States of America do a really good version of New York Groove.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. They do. Um, this one also has Dimebag. He's doing Snowblind, singing lead vocal too, I believe, if I remember correctly. Brian Tishy doing a great version of Rip It Out. LA Guns with Phil Lewis, I think, doing Cold Gin. I might be wrong on that. Eric Singer with Carl Cochran doing Strange Ways. I'll skip through the bands that nobody's heard of. Dancing with Danger by Todd Howarth. He changes the lyric a little bit on the Ace Frehley version. It's frozen fingers on a cocoa wheel. On this one, it's frozen fingers on a cobalt wheel. I don't know what either of those two sentences mean. Lover All I Can, Carl Cochran, Eric Singer. Rocket Ride by Gilby Clarke. If you're a Gilby Clarke fan,
Oh yeah, well
that is
that's
a
funny
great track.
because he's on here too. He just shocked me.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
both great. Mitch Weissman and Richie Scarlett doing Remember Me. Presidents are back with New York Groove. Oh, sorry, they do Shout It Out Loud as well, and New York Groove. And then we have the Comet Band reuniting on a couple of tracks. Richie Scarlett singing lead vocals on Back on the Streets and Animal.
Back on the Streets. Is that the same? Is that the Vinnie
Yes,
Vincent song?
it is. Yeah.
Wow, did that
All
song
the
ever make the rounds? Because I remember hearing
yeah.
that on John Norum's first solo album.
Yes, it was there as well, and Ace cut a demo of it, which is why
It's a good
on
song.
this.
It's a good song.
And I believe Animal was also in the Vinnie Vincent circles as well.
I think it might be from the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion album, but I don't know.
It might be. I can't remember because I don't listen to it.
Come
Anyway,
on now.
then we have a brand new Todd Howarth song called California Burns, an original, and a brand new Bruce Kulick original called Liar. And inside is a treat. A treat. If you were lucky enough to order this early, you got your very own Bruce Kulick guitar pick. Check that baby out.
That's cool, but how weird is that? You had to order an Ace Frehley tribute album to get a Bruce Kulick guitar pick.
John Regan put this thing together. I'm sure he called, everybody he knew. Kind of a big coup to get the presidents, I think, at that point. But
yeah,
I love the artwork too. You were talking about good artwork. Look at that.
yeah, yeah.
That
It kind of reminds me. It kind of reminds me of. Well, I know it was based on a Frank Kelly Freeze, but it kind of reminds me of Queen's News of the World.
Yeah, yeah. But it's also that pulp
That too.
sci-fi.
Yeah.
It's a great motif. Like the girl in the white face kind of represents the kiss, I think.
Love Gun.
Love Gun. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, produced by John Regan. And I don't know how easy this is to find today, but it is worth seeking for some of those deep cuts and, the reunion of the Comet Band. I don't know if Kulick released The Liar anywhere else, but worth it. And John Regan did the liner notes and everything else. So, I consider this sort of like an extended version of an extended part of the Comet albums.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's the next thing you've got, Mike? It might
12
be
picks.
Okay, yeah, me too. Yeah, so this came out. It's funny, I only just got this not long ago. I never picked it up in its time. I don't know why. And it's basically a best of from those years, but it's well done. Now, mine does not have an Ace Frehley guitar pick, although
Check this out, Tim. Look. Promo only, not for sale.
Oh, interesting. Although I should have gotten it down, but it's behind plastic. I have an Ace Frehley guitar pick, and I'll tell you why, because we're talking, well, it actually predates this, but in 1995, our good buddy Matt Phillips was living in Ontario in Brockville, and he got to see one of the gigs by the Bad Boys of Kiss. So he
Right.
got all kinds of cool pictures of Peter and Ace. He didn't meet them, but he did get I think this is where it came from. He sent it to me. He got a couple guitar picks. So I've got a pink Ace Frehley guitar pick. I don't know if Ace used it, but anyway, so yeah, that'll make up for me not getting one in this. So yeah, and this was compiled by John Regan on Megaforce, and it's important to note Megaforce at this point not distributed by Atlantic, but they must have had the rights to all those studio songs, and it's pretty good. Now you know if you really know those albums well, you'll say, well, there's some songs missing. Well, stay tuned for the sequel to this, but you
And
know.
also terrible back cover. What order are the songs in?
Well, yeah,
Terrible.
I like the song titles written in the picks, but they could have at least put, I don't know, little track numbers. But
Well, most pick collectors, if they mount their picks on a display, they'll go do 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 do. Nice neat
yeah,
rows. Nice. That's all we ask for, guys. Nice neat rows. Not just throw your picks on the ground. Nice neat rows. That's all we not. That's all we want.
yeah. So it's got, of course, it's got some live. You know, it's got Deuce, Cold Gin, Rocket Ride, because obviously it's anything Kiss related. Kiss were back to their original lineup and doing very well on the road. And, you know, so it makes sense that this would have come out when it did. But it
Yep.
was very swiftly followed. I mean, it's got the same copyright year of 1997 by Loaded Deck.
One moment, please.
One moment. We'll just pause here. But you can see,
Okay.
you know, the quite kind of cool artwork, right? Mike seems to have two versions of it. Why am I not surprised?
Okay.
Um,
I can tell you this is my original Loaded Deck, and I think it has a guitar pick in it as well. I think. Yes, yes, yes. And this one's a little bit different from the last one. I believe there were different colors available
okay.
in 12 picks anyway, different colors available. Not so sure about Loaded Deck. I believe I bought all of these mail order
Okay.
so that I got them hot off the presses, but this time it's promo only, not for sale, with the Ace of Spades there.
That's cool.
So I kept my original copy of Loaded Deck, which, by the way, very bare bones packaging otherwise.
Yeah.
Some nice liner notes by Richie, not Richie, sorry. I said Richie because of what I'm about to say next.
John.
Nice liner notes by John, but on Shot Full of Rock, the Emperor of Rock, Mr. Richie Scarlett, takes control of this one. So there you go, the Emperor of Rock. But I many years later heard about a Japanese version with an extended version of Shock Me as a bonus track. So I finally tracked that down. I wanted to be absolutely 100% sure that this was not just another version of Shock Me that I had on a different release before I spent that money. So no, this is a completely different version of Shock Me. You can tell because Todd does the same but different intro every time. You know, this is a song that Ace wrote back in his old band. You see, he was coming down a railing and something wasn't grounded right, and he shocked the crap out of himself, you know. And then Ace makes like some shocky sounds with his guitar. um One of my favorite live versions has Todd saying, when he came to, he wrote this song, and then you can hear Ace say, I did. And Todd goes, yeah, shock me. But anyway, Loaded Deck, two previously unreleased studio tracks, really good one anyway.
Yep. I'll agree with you.
1+1 is a great tune. It sounds like maybe, I guess these are Trouble Walking outtakes, but 1+1 is way more pop than anything on Trouble Walking. Give It to Me Anyway is outtake quality.
So you'd think that it's like from the first album, you think, well, why isn't Dewey on there? You know, It's Over Now as a single.
Right.
Why isn't that on there? So they're on here.
Yep.
As is, you know, you'd think that there would have been a version of New York Groove on the first, and there isn't, is there? No, there isn't. I mean, Ace's one hit, but anyway, here it is here, and it's got Fracture 2 and Fracture 3, which is kind of cool, and it's got Rock Soldiers. Well, wait a minute, Rock Soldiers was on the first one too, so it must be a live version.
Yes.
So this still right here. Is this from the Insane video?
Wouldn't know because I never saw the Insane video, but it would make sense.
What's weird about this, does it not look a little bit like Vinny?
Yeah, a little, but that's just coincidence.
Yeah.
Liner note there by John Regan. More liner notes inside.
John Regan, he was really the keeper of the flame, wasn't he?
He really was. And then he was also in a spin-off band that they did a little bit later on, which I couldn't remember the name of, so I didn't grab the CD. But Sean Kelly worked with them. Todd Howarth, John Regan, right. Sean Kelly, and one of the drummers from Wasp, I think. I I can't remember where these live tracks came from, but I want to say that between this and 12 picks, you're getting the live tracks from the Live
Live
Plus
in
Four
London.
home
Oh
Live
yeah,
Plus Four home video.
that was done at the Hammersmith, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I think these two comps are worth it. You still miss a lot of good tracks from those Atlantic albums, but they give you unreleased stuff on both, so there's
Yeah.
value there. And I really do think that 1+1 song is primo stuff.
I agree. It's good. It's good.
He could have released that as a standalone single because it did not fit on the Trouble Walking album. He could have released it as a standalone single.
I also like that on the 12 picks they did sort of rescue Words Are Not Enough from its, lone studio track
Right.
on a live EP.
Yep, smart move.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know about you, but I've got a long gap.
Another long
between
gap.
Everything.
Yep.
So what's the next thing you have?
I have his comeback album.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
we'll call it that, Anomaly. And I have two versions of it, and we're not going to demonstrate the special packaging for the kind audience.
I hate. I've got the special packaging. It is the most unwieldy,
This is it here.
messy packaging of almost.
It's slipping
any
apart
CD.
in my hands as I
Yeah.
hold it.
I
have something better. I
Yeah.
have the Anomaly Deluxe Edition, which has a really nice, you can't see it. Well, you can. It's an embossed. You see the embossment?
I see that. Yep.
Isn't that so much nicer?
And I like the way it's written better. It's easier to read.
And look at that. What do you get? You get bonus tracks. And I think, if I remember correctly, The Return of Space Bear was a download-only track at the time.
Yeah.
So now here's a physical release of.
And I think
Return of
Hard
Space
for Me
Bear.
dates back to like Trouble Walking era.
I recognize the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this came out, seems to me this came out around the same time that Kiss put out Sonic Boom, like fall 2009.
Yeah, competing once again, just like
Yeah.
it's like a rematch of the 1989 albums, but in 2009.
And I think this album charted really well.
It definitely did okay for Ace. Outer Space was the main track.
Yeah.
Although Fox on the Run got a lot of attention.
He does it, and
Free.
there's another one, Fox on the Run. That sounds like it was made for Ace.
Yeah, it does.
There you got a pretty face. It's got that like, and the Sweet version's awesome, and I knew it already, but it's that when I found out that he covered that, I could already hear what it sounded like. I'm like, that's gonna work. That's gonna work for Ace. That's an Ace song. What is the? Let me see now. I think it's Outer Space. Outer Space was written by Outside Writers, right?
It's a cover. If you buy Mitch LaFon's World with Heroes Cancer Care CD,
Yes.
the original version, I want to say the band is called Shred Mill.
Well, I think those guys, or some of them, ended up in Jason Newsted's band.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure about that. Yeah, you know what? I thought this was okay. I thought,
okay.
if you took at the time, because there was such a gap, not only for Ace, but there was such a gap with Kiss between the, Psycho Circus and Sonic Boom, that if you took, like, there are a couple of songs on Gene's album I thought were okay, a couple of songs on Paul's album, and then some of the Ace, you could have assembled a missing Kiss album.
That's a great topic for another show.
Yeah.
Can I say a few words here? I don't like Foxy and Free, Pain in the Neck, Too Many Faces. There's a few songs in here I don't particularly care for, but the ones that I love, like Outer Space, Fox on the Run, Genghis Khan, which is almost an instrumental. It's an instrumental with a chorus. It's what it is.
I like Genghis Khan. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great song. Fractured Quantum. We're back to doing the Fractured. Yep. I even like the cheesy ballad, A Little Below the Angels.
I do too. To me, it's got that Remember Me, corny sincerity on it.
And then there's like maybe his daughter speaking with him, or a granddaughter.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And I like Space Bear.
Now, Space Bear, and then of course you've got the version with Return of the Space Bear. Does that not have some of the Tom Snyder
reenacted? But
reenacted,
yes, and it's funny.
Look,
I enjoy. I
rock and roll.
I prefer Return of Space Bear. I prefer that version. But I have both, and this will make you laugh because I like to keep those sloppy digipacks in a sandwich bag. Some. But yeah, the beginning of a new era of Ace.
That makes sense because Kiss saves Christmas, right?
Oh, that's a great reference. Um,
I want to see a full length of that.
me too.
I want Seth MacFarlane to make a half-hour version of that.
Oh, that
Kiss
would be
Saves
great.
Christmas. Yeah.
You got to see that Family Guy episode if you
Yeah.
don't know what we're talking about. But this is the start of a new era of Ace because he released albums steadily from this point
Yep.
onwards.
Hmm.
And this was very well received at the time. There, like I said, it was the head-to-head again, the
Yeah.
battle of Kiss and Ace, and I think a lot of people were more rating Anomaly higher than Sonic Boom at the time. Although I prefer personally listen to Sonic Boom.
Me too.
I would never say anything bad about Ace.
I was just glad that I had two new albums to pick up.
Right, like repeating the Battle of '89. Like, what's not to like about that?
It's more, yeah, it doesn't need to be competition. It could be, look, I've got more to listen to. I've got more to enjoy from the the extended Kiss members of the family.
It's the media and social media that inflates these rivalries.
They make it
let's
into,
compare.
Yeah, they got much more that it's much more than it actually was, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, so the next thing I have is his next studio
Right.
album.
So if I'm holding the right one, we have two different versions. I
Yeah,
have the
so
Japanese.
I've got,
Oh, you
yeah,
have it's different cover and everything.
it's a digipack. Well, it's similar, but it's different.
You
And
have
it-
more
and
of a comic book font, whereas mine is a continuation of that sort of Anomaly look.
It is, yeah. This was Ken Kelly, the late Ken Kelly, doing artwork once again for Ace.
Look though, the lightning bolt logo from the last album is retained.
Now that is interesting, and the font's different too, totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And the Space Invader, the way it's written on mine, is more like that Return of the Comet.
Yeah, yeah, very comic booky.
So this is on E1. This is just the version that I got off Amazon, the one that was available. So yeah, this came. What does the CD? What does your CD look like? Because mine looks like.
Well, might be surprised to see that the Japanese had the same.
Same, but yours is like blue and black, whereas mine's like two shades of blue.
That could be just no. It's two shades of blue. My camera is a lot darker than my old camera, so you're not seeing the color the way you should. It is the same. Now we have different bonus tracks. Mine has Reckless Extended, Gimme a Feeling Explicit, and Space Invader Radio Edit. I think yours has different bonus tracks.
Yeah, mine has Give Me a Feeling, Radio Edit, whatever that means.
So
Space
I don't
Invader,
have that.
Radio Edit. This album, you know what? I don't think I could tell you how any of the songs go.
I picked Space Invader as one of my top 11 Ace Frehley tracks, the title track, Space Invader. He comes from distant galaxies. I really liked that song. Now, I played this album last week, and I don't remember very much of it now. Reckless, I hear a lot because it was also on the Bronx Boy EP, which we won't be covering because that's vinyl.
Right.
So Reckless, I remember, and I would give Reckless good marks. It's like a semi-acoustic song, and it really sounds very Ace.
Of course, the Joker, but I hate that song no matter who's doing it. I despise it. That was a case where Ace missed the mark.
Yep.
I'm not saying that there doesn't exist a Steve Miller song that Ace could have done, but not the Joker.
Well, we all know why. It's because there's a line about he's a space cowboy. So.
Yeah.
But I remember liking the album when it was playing, but the memorability factor may not be there. I think it's a better sounding album than Anomaly.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. I think I got this the same time as the Tesla album Simplicity.
Ooh.
And I hate that album.
I don't listen to it.
So this is better than that.
It is.
Yeah.
I will say that you have a version I don't have with a track that I don't have, so I will be getting that deluxe to go with my Japanese.
Folks, I just want to point out how rare that is when that happens.
Yeah, it actually is, but it's cool when it happens.
Yeah. So the next thing I'm actually excited to talk about.
Okay.
Cool. Some people don't get too excited over covers albums, but I was more than pleased with Origins Volume 1.
Me too.
I really like the back cover. I really like this back cover. It's got the disc. Yeah.
It's very good.
I actually think, the packaging is really well. And I think that this is a case where for the most part, Ace made some smart choices, not only as far as songs to cover,
Artists to collaborate with.
artists to collaborate with, and again, actually, I will say this. I think this lineup that did most of this album, this is the best example of Ace having a co-lead vocalist.
Good example.
Without question. So some of my so obviously for Kiss fans, the big draw, the big excitement was Paul Stanley guesting on his cover of Freeze, Fire and Water. But what I remember, and I'm sure you remember this too, the way that Ace teased this on social media, just posted a picture of, if I recall correctly, Ace's Les Paul and Paul's Iceman guitar. But the quote they used, you know what I'm saying? Do you know where I'm
Yeah.
going with this? What be this and what be that? And I'm like, that's really weird.
Yeah.
And then you open the comments and everybody, and why you got to look like that? That's from All Hell's Breaking Loose,
which isn't an Ace song at all.
No, but it was like, okay, I get it. Now, what's my favorite version of Fire and Water based on the few that I've heard? I like the XYZ version.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
That's on their second album, Hungry.
I don't have that one.
Yeah, it's good. It's faster.
This is my favorite.
It's not fast, but it's faster. Now, I like, it's cool to hear Paul singing on this. He sounds good. It's cool to hear them together. It's good to know that this goes back to like the rivalry. I think is a lot of it is non-existent. They're too busy doing their now. I will say this in all respect to Ace. I loved him to death. He would always make really stupid statements whenever a new album would come out, and it would, especially in the case of his last studio album, it would keep me from buying it for a while. Like it would annoy me to the point where I would not pre-order it.
I've been thinking about this a lot, and while I agree with you to the point, I would still buy the album, but Ace would turn me off, and I would prefer not to read anymore. On the other hand, I was thinking last week, how would I feel if I was just, browsing the metal news and it's like, I see Gene Simmons just randomly calling me a knucklehead in an interview because somebody asks, why is Ace and Peter not on this tour? And then Gene makes an offhand comment about, well, those two knuckleheads couldn't get their lives together. And Ace is drinking his morning coffee and sees that. And he's like, well, what the hell? And I'm thinking to myself, the media. That's all I'm going to say.
They always make it into more than it is. And it could be one quote that was said. And in this case, it's not said just once. But yes, I know it's the old mountain out of a molehill. So I want to go through the songs real quick and see what you think. White Room. Okay. Obvious choice, but well done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
The counter vocal is great.
The counter vocal is great. Who's it? Scott Coogan, the drummer?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did a lot of that stuff. Yeah.
Street Fighting Man. I like. This is a much covered song.
Yeah.
Motley Crue did a version of it. Tesla did a version of it. I like this. And this lends itself to Ace's vocal. Every day I hear the blah, blah. But I like it. I mean, to me, lyrically, it almost sounds like this. If you listen to a song like Hard Times from Dynasty, that's kind of what it sounds like. What can a poor boy do from playing a rock and roll band? I don't know. I like it. Spanish Castle Magic. Jimi Hendrix song. I like it. It's not one of my favorites, but I like it. Fire and Water, enough said. Emerald.
Surprise.
Just as sort of I was getting into Thin Lizzy, this comes out, and I think this is awesome. I think this is so awesome. Now, because Ace doesn't sound like Phil Lynott, but he does have that half speaking, half singing delivery, which works. And it's odd that, I mean, Emerald came out in 76, so Kiss were already well on their way, but man, do I love it.
I think the important thing about this track is the way that Ace captured the guitar. You have to do that thick. And Ace is the master of layering when he's in the recording studio. So you get that. He and Slash trading off guitars at the end of it.
But yeah, it's good. A really good version of Emerald and a great song to resurrect because like in the UK, over in Europe, it's like, well, yes, they're doing Emerald. Thank God he didn't do Boys Are Back in Town or even Jailbreak. He picked a less obvious song. I like it. And the cool thing about that is that because Jailbreak is the one Thin Lizzy album you're likely to see out there in the wild, anybody that likes Ace might look at it and go, I know the boys are back in town. I know Jail. Oh, Emerald's on here too.
Yeah.
I'll get it.
Yeah.
So
I realized I sang the wrong riff when I did that
you
earlier, but
did.
you
So
get the
I was trying to figure out where that was,
I
but
it was just I'm trying to get
da
across
da da
that
da da da
feel.
da da da
You
da
got to
da.
capture that two guitar feel, and they
Yeah.
did. They did is my point.
Next up, my opinion, the highlight of the album.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like an Ace riff. And at that point, I'm like, I can hear Jimmy Page's influence on Ace, not
Hmm.
just playing a Les Paul, but Bring It On Home by, well, it's a blues cover, but by, from Zeppelin 2, but with Scott Coogan nailing the vocal. That this
Yeah.
is so, I was, as soon as that comes on, blah, blah, da, 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 I'm like, yes. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah. That had to
next,
be on
next,
this album.
next up, I always skip. I don't even acknowledge it.
Oh, interesting. I
No
find
one
it to be
ever,
fun.
no
Campy
one ever.
fun.
I'm not a fan of Lita Ford at all. Sorry, I'm not. And who needs another version of Wild Thing? The answer is no one.
Campy fun.
Mm, filler. Filler
Next
at
song,
best.
though. Next
Yeah.
song.
Oh, okay. So here's where things get interesting. Ace finally, in the studio, puts a lead vocal on not one, but two songs that he wrote for Kiss. So Parasite. I
Hmm.
mean, it's pretty hard to screw this up. It's such a
Yeah.
great, great song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know what to say. It's so good.
No, this is he needed to claim this song for his own, and this is that.
Yeah. Um, Steppenwolf's Magic Carpet Ride. This wouldn't have been one I would have suggested, but I like it. And again, it's the vocal fits.
I have a theory why this song is on the album, and that's because of there is a space connection to this song. If you're familiar with the Star Trek franchise, when Zephram Cochrane makes his historic first flight on the Phoenix, going to warp speed for the first time, what's playing on his stereo but Magic Carpet Ride? So my theory is that Ace Frehley, as a science fiction fan, enjoys that
Yeah.
connection.
You're probably dead on. Yeah. Next up is the other Ace classic that he wrote, Cold Gin. Is this the one with Mike McCready on it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And Mike McCready's an Ace super fan.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good. I like it. Um, Now the next one is, I think, yeah, the only song that I wasn't familiar with the original version,
Okay.
although you can tell it's a Kinks song,
Yeah,
obviously. Till the end of the day, I like it. I think that I think the Ray Davies vocal style suits Ace too.
it does. Yep.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
that's that. And then finally, of course, this was
Right.
the probably other than Fire and Water, this was the most talked about.
Yeah.
Ace covering Rock and Roll Hell
Yeah.
from Creatures of the Night, which he's on the cover, but not on the album. So I think it's a good version.
I say Ace had the right to lay claim to any of those songs that they released with his face on them.
However, there is one thing that puzzles me. But what's puzzling me, um, it's credited to Gene Simmons and Jim Vallance
Without the BTO.
without Brian Adams mentioned. It
Oh,
says
Brian
Adams
Adams.
Communications Incorporated, but it is. He co-wrote it, so that's a miss.
Don't tell
Anyway,
Brian.
I mean Brian did War Machine and Rock and Roll Hell as a standalone
Yeah.
single, so he obviously claims those as his songs, or at least co-written. Anyway, uh, I mean, for what it's worth, it's a covers album, but it's an extraordinarily well done one,
Hmm.
and I listen to it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good one for sure.
yeah. So next up, he just can't get away from the space thing.
No. And why? And why?
And 2018, Spaceman. Well, the other thing is that it's hard to tell them. It's like the Latter Day Whitesnake albums. It's hard to tell them apart.
There was a great version of this that was a vinyl exclusive that had him in an orange spacesuit.
That's right.
And I
Yeah.
wish I had that version because that is my preferred cover, the orange spacesuit.
Yeah.
But this ain't so bad. I mean, he's got a silver suit on, but that's
Yeah.
always good.
For an alternate Spaceman costume, that actually kind of makes sense. Which is kind of weird. Um, Now this album, again. There, girly, is anybody out there? Okay. Sorry, froze up for a sec. Sometimes when I go into character, it's hard to come back out. Now, I don't know. I this isn't. I think I reviewed this when it came out. I don't remember much of it. I do remember a few. Of course, the one song that was a recognizable title was "Rockin' with the Boys" because this was like erroneously reported by Kerrang in like '82 as the title of the upcoming Kiss album. It's like that doesn't make any sense.
That has to be a coincidence. But then again, maybe not. It's a cheesy song.
Oh, I
It
don't
is,
like it. No, it's rocking with like
the lyrics are almost like a rock and roll version of Beth. He's like, "Hey,
yes,
it's the
yes,
same story. It's the same
yeah.
story." But I do like the opener. Without you, I'm nothing.
Is that the one? Yeah, that's the one he co-wrote with Gene, or one of them that he co-wrote with Gene.
I like Bronx Boy, which, like I said earlier, was a vinyl EP.
Yeah.
I love Mission to Mars. I love I Want to Go Back. There's a bunch of good songs on here.
It's interesting. I mean, when it was like, I don't have any of his albums, but I love hearing Eddie Money songs on the radio. I think he had such a cool voice. He got so many good songs, and I'm like, really, Ace, you want to try and compete with the Money Man? But I like it. I mean, it's good, and he pulls it off. I think this is one that would have really benefited from another vocalist. But another one he co-wrote with Gene is "Your Wish Is My Command," which both that one and "Without You I'm Nothing" are really about the sort of whole Kiss, I don't know, manifesto. It was like, we're doing this for the fans. This is all for fans. And also, if you think back to Psycho Circus and the song "You Wanted the Best," everything's out of hand, but your wish is our command, or something like that. It's pretty good. I like it better than Space Invader.
I do too.
Yeah.
And also, I would say that the last track, Quantum Flux, is also a part of the Fractured lineage, because the last album was Fractured Quantum. Yeah. So here we have Quantum Flux, the next chapter. Not a particularly memorable member of the quintilogy.
No. Which is awesome because, I mean, most people don't know this, but he also had an update to this plan called "For Flux Sake."
That would have been great. That would have been great.
So the next thing to come out is Origins Volume 2, Carly, which I don't think is nearly as good as Origins Volume 1.
Didn't hit me the same.
No, I think that it's a combination of really obvious choices of songs, although I do like some of it. No question. That came out in 2020. And so if we want to go through the songs on this, I like his version of Good Times, Bad Times. I mean, there's probably other Zeppelin songs that he could have. I mean, it's not nearly as good as Bring It On Home.
It's serviceable.
But I mean, again, there aren't a lot of Zeppelin songs where the vocal would fit Ace, but this one is sort of like,
it's low enough.
Days of my youth, I was told, like, it's got that up and down vocal quality. Yeah, and it's low enough. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not super high. I like Never in My Life, the Mountain song. I didn't know this. This was not a song I knew. So I do like this one. Space Truckin', it's a bit. I like it, but it's a bit too obvious.
Yeah,
the video was fun. The little animated video was fun.
It was okay, but yeah, it's not. Yeah. I mean, there's how many versions of Space Truckin' do I have?
There are Deep Purple songs. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, there's so many Deep Purple songs that he could have done that would have not only done a really good version of, but kind of brought them back. Of course, I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but you could picture him doing Fireball. That would have been cool.
Yeah. As far as Space Truckin' goes, Iron Maiden did the best cover, in my opinion. But that's a topic that'll be discussed on another show.
So next up is a song that I think I speak for a lot of people our age. I first heard it via Aerosmith on Permanent Vacation. Yeah. So it's an early Beatles song, I'm Down.
I like it. I like this.
No, I like it. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Jumpin' Jack Flash.
Too obvious.
Yeah. And I like Cinderella's versions better.
Don't know. I didn't know Politician.
Me neither, and I just don't like the song.
No, didn't do anything for me.
Okay, so
but I love Lola.
I don't know what it is about track 7. I always have to skip. Can't stand it. No, can't stand it. No,
I love it. I love it.
I find it extremely annoying.
Okay.
Yep.
30 Days in the Hole with Robin Zander.
Yeah, that's cool, but that's like the third cover version of that I've heard. And I think you
Yeah.
probably know the other two.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Big is definitely one, and I can't think
Come,
of the other.
oh, come on now.
I
It
brain fart.
was it was well, like so 30 Days in the Hole by Humble Pie was a bonus track on the cassette and vinyl or the cassette and
And
CD
CD.
versions of the debut Mr. Big album. In 1984, it was also a bonus track on the cassette version of this
Mm,
album.
Kick Axe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. That's
Very
right.
heavy version, but
Yeah.
yeah. Next up, Hendrix Manic Depression. I like it.
Too obvious.
I see. I don't know much about this. Is not an obvious. The only other time I've heard this was there was a Hendrix tribute album that came out I think in '93 called Stone Free,
Yep.
and there's
Yep.
a version of Manic Depression with Jeff Beck and Seal. I remember
Well,
hearing, and I kind of liked it, but
I
um,
know it from King's X and Doug Pinnick
oh
singing Manic Depression. They did this on their Dogman album,
yeah,
and it's very good. Very good.
I can hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up is Paul Revere and the Raiders and Kicks.
Well, I knew he was an influence on Ace in his youth.
Yeah. I take or leave.
Yeah, take or leave, but obviously, I think that's one that comes from Ace.
Yeah. Yeah.
But We Got to Get Out of This Place is a song that I like, and I don't hear covered very often, so I'm glad to hear that.
The Animals, right?
I think so. Yeah.
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 Who
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
an album called Animalization, which is where the title Animalize comes from.
Nice.
And then he goes back to the Kiss Well only
Yeah.
once with She,
Yeah.
which now
Good
this
one to
was not
claim.
it is. It's not one he wrote.
No, it's
To be
not.
honest with you, I would have said, Ace, why don't you do Getaway?
Um,
I
not
gotta
a,
get away.
think he was going for something that was more well known,
Well, I know it's a better song, but listen, I don't think anyone's ever going to better Anthrax's cover.
Oh, that's a great version with
Because
John Bush on lead vocals.
boy, do they ever.
That's heavy.
Yeah, boy, do they
Now,
ever knock that out of the
Why
park.
is it a bonus track?
I've never understood what's a bonus track about something you've paid for.
Right.
Beethoven's Fifth. He should have covered Beethoven's Fifth.
Oh, that would have been funny.
Anyway, so
That
there's
would have been
Origins
funny.
2, pales in comparison, but I just think a lot of his poor song selection. I think half of it is quite good, but Origins Volume 1, I just think he knocked it out of the park with just about every choice of song.
Origins Volume 2 is the rock and roll version of Sequel Syndrome.
Yeah, it's not as good as I like the artwork. The artwork's good.
Yeah, it's matching. Maybe we should hold them both up at the same time.
Yeah, it's
So you can
matching, and
see-
it even references the first one.
Yeah. So that's
So-
very cool. And if there'd been a Volume 3, that would have been sweet too.
Hey, you never know, there may be yet.
Apparently, I was reading Ace only got 3 tracks into Volume 3. So at best, it could only be an EP, really. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they have other things in the vault.
Well, they could. I mean, conceivably, you could get some live versions of things
Yeah.
like 2000 Man or well, I mean, New York
Even-
Groove's a cover, but
Even throw previously released.
do ya?
Yeah. Anything.
Yeah. Well, that's Poison did that when they put that Poisoned out.
Right. They put out,
Most of them were newly recorded, but they threw Your Mama Don't Dance on there, and Don't Mess Around with Jim and all that stuff. But so next up is an album that I probably waited several months to get, and
yeah.
it's just funny. I'm just one idiot on YouTube, one of many. What the heck does my opinion matter? It doesn't. But in my own way, the way that I show my sort of like disapproval, but still buy something, I only bought the CD. I didn't buy the vinyl. Take that. And that was the case with this album, 10,000 Volts, because Ace in the press was particularly overbearing at the time.
Yeah. It was
And-
really ugly.
And it really, unfortunately, it really colored my opinion of listening to the album. But now that I've listened to it, not just after he died, but in earlier this year, it's actually pretty good. I think it is actually pretty good. But of course, the mystery lies is, Steve Brown had much to do with this album, but
Right.
not if you were to ask Ace.
Right. So
It's kind of weird.
That's the elephant in the room here, is that how much of this there was a lot of negativity in the comment sections with people saying it's a Steve Brown album with Ace singing lead, and the lead vocals have all been manipulated digitally, blah blah blah. um at the end of the day, I did not listen to this album for a long, long time. I started listening to it as you and I discussed doing this show, and I like it. The
Yeah.
production is distinctly different from the last three studio
Yeah.
albums. It
Well,
is more
it
polished.
sounds, I hate to say this, but it sounds like there was a budget.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, I agree. Um, there was a couple of good singles here that I like a lot. I like both 10,000 volts and Cherry Medicine, which I'm going to spell and pronounce like that from now on because
I
that's the
don't
way he sings it.
understand why I don't understand why someone in the studio wouldn't have said, "Well, hey, Ace, why are you putting so much emphasis on the sun part of it? Like it doesn't need to be so." And
At
Ace is
this
not a stupid guy, so it must have been a creative choice. I just don't get the choice.
at this point, maybe there's, well, I don't want to say too much, but Ace's voice was changing, and
Yeah, but it doesn't
you
change the way you pronounce.
and it doesn't change the way you pronounce things, but it does change the way he sings, and a lot of the melodies on this sound kind of like really awkward, but eventually they hook you in. I had just noticed Mix and Masters
10,000.
by Bruno
Bruno
Ravel.
Ravel, yeah.
Yeah,
10,000 volts is good, it's a
I like
revisit
10,000
of
volts. It's
the
got
of
that
the
Ace sounding riff. I'm assuming Ace wrote it.
by far my favorite song on here, Fighting for Life.
It's good.
By
Yeah.
far. It's great. I mean, that is like I remember thinking, at this point in time, it's nice when you're blown away by a new album, but even if you get a new song by a classic artist that you
Yeah.
love to add to the repertoire, it's almost like that's kind of frightening. And of course, one of the songs on here is, as fans know, is dates back all the way to like 85,
Mhm.
which is Back Into My Arms Again, which again
Good song, I thought.
really would have benefited from another
It would have
vocalist.
sounded great on the first Comet album.
With Todd Howard singing, could have been a single.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have been. Or if Ace sounded really good on that album, it would have been a different story because it's that many years later, right? But it's very catchy. It's very commercial. I mean, that's probably why he backed away from it. But
Hmm.
if this had been on Second Sighting, would have saved that album.
Oh yeah,
Like
it
it
could
would
have.
have
Yeah.
absolutely saved that up. Or Trouble Walk. Well, Trouble Walking, he was going for a more streetwise kind of thing. But anyway, um, I like Walking on the Moon. Is good. What else is on? Constantly Cute is about like Cherry Med. It's too cutesy for its own sake.
I think
It's
at this point,
awkward.
Ace was newly in love with a young
You
girlfriend and
can
wrote
tell that he
every
was
frickin' song about her.
was pretty smitten, and he would fluctuate because the next thing you know, he comes up with something like "Pain in the Neck." uh, um, Cosmic Heart. Yeah, I mean, again, lots of space up in the sky. Up in the skies, I like it. I
So
like it.
I like Stratosphere as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. No, this is good. I mean, if this is the last thing we ever hear from Ace, which I doubt it will be,
No.
there'll be something will surface, even if it's a new a quote unquote new studio album with a few covers on it. But anyway, yeah. So it's a mixed bag, but there's more than enough good stuff on here. If you like the stuff that Ace wrote and sang for Kiss, I mean, it's well. I would you agree that during the major label years, the Megaforce Atlantic years, he was kind of steering away from that. But when he started with Anomaly again, he was digging back into his Kiss sound.
No, I wouldn't. And the reason I don't think so is because he did do Breakout on that debut album.
No, he did, but it doesn't sound like 70s Kiss, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
He's going back into the classic Kiss sound, starting with Anomaly. That's really where he's got his bread and butter.
I guess I agree and disagree to a certain extent because I know Ace made quotes in the press at the time around the time of Trouble Walking where he's like, well, my album sounds more like Kiss than the Kiss album, kind of like.
Sounds more like 70s Kiss, maybe.
Yeah.
That's really what people mean when they say that, because well, here's the thing. and this is another topic unto itself, but what does Kiss sound like?
Right.
They have more varied sounds than people give them credit for.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
more to
Many.
them. Yeah. So usually when someone says, well, this sounds like Kiss, they mean it sounds like 70s Kiss.
Yeah. And I think Ace was going for an 80s vibe in the 80s, obviously. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
you? I
Yeah.
think he was trying to expand his palette. I
Hmm.
think he was like, you know, you think all I can play are these blocky chords? No, check
Yeah.
out this song, check out
Yeah.
this solo. I think he was legitimately trying to reclaim his throne where he did belong in the 80s because he was an influence on so many of these
Oh
guys.
my goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And
in the 80s, everybody was just like, Van Halen, Van Halen, Van Halen, Van Halen. And I think Ace is like, listen to
remember
me,
me?
listen, remember me.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of his drive in the 80s was kind of like, was that
Yeah.
remember me? And I think from other quotes that he had in the 80s, he was very happy to see guitar players like Slash come along later on that were playing Les Pauls, that were not playing whammy bars.
That's right. Yeah. No, that's very true. And again, if you think about this, between 88 and 89, really, you had GNR becoming huge, more stripped down,
Mm-hmm.
and Trouble Walking is much more. Is it me? Hey, it's cold.
Oh my God, you should have seen how my screen was just frozen. Your
I
face was like, ah!
I I did that on purpose. I knew I was frozen.
Okay.
Yeah. I kept saying
Um,
it's cold down here in space.
I don't know where you left off. I was
um.
about to text you saying you're frozen.
So yeah. So Trouble Walking is much more stripped down
Yeah.
than the previous albums. That's all. So, I really haven't got much else to say. I mean, he will continue to be remembered as one of the you know one of the most influential guitar players and one of the most memorable. He's got such a distinct sound. He was such a personality, and I think it's important for people to realize. I mean, he was pretty prolific, right? I mean, he did
Yeah.
have that long gap in recordings, like 20 years, really, but um, it's just it's going to be one of those. I mean, we're losing our heroes for sure. But this was a big one. I mean, we always knew, obviously we're going to lose one of the original members of Kiss sooner or later. I just, well, actually, you know what? I didn't want to think
Mm-hmm.
about who it would
Mm-hmm.
be. So anyway, so that's our look at the Ace Frehley solo years collection, but whether the Comet or whether, built under his own name. Mike, thanks for doing this. As usual, always a pleasure. Folks, don't forget, subscribe to Grab a Stack of Rock for amazing content and amazing Lego work from our good friend Harrison. So you might even spot Mike dressed up as Harrison on a Halloween episode or two or three. Anyway, so um, tell in the comments, remind Mike why he's wrong and why I'm right. And
As usual.
I'm so kidding.
As
All
usual.
right, Mike, thanks as always for doing this. And I want to thank Logan as well for actually planting the seed for this idea. And we'll see y'all again. Thanks for watching. Tim's Final Confessions. I almost said, look, it's rock and roll. That's not what the show's called, though. All right.